Hello! Last episode we had a little look at Netflix Bless and running the client on your computer as if your computer was the actual bastion. It's a really convenient way of doing it, but it's not very secure, and it certainly doesn't solve the security concern that Bless was intended to solve. If you had an attacker get access to your computer, they wouldn't be able to see your SSH keys because they're really short-lived, but they can just steal your IAM credentials and just generate one themselves anyway. So it is still insecure. So we're going to solve that with a bastion and set up two-factor authentication on it with the Google Authenticator. So I've got a bastion, brand new instance up and running. It's Ubuntu 18, and I've installed Python in it. Sudo apt-get install Python. I'm running as root right now. Apt-get install Python, and I need to first update to install Python pip. There we go. Apt install Python pip. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do in this episode is create, which I've already done, a brand new group called Blessed, and any user that's part of the Blessed group is going to have access to our EC2 instances that trust the Blessed certificate authority. So no users attached to this either at the moment, and absolutely no permissions to Blessed. It's just an empty group with no permissions or anything. And what I want to do on the Bastion is continually look at that group, Blessed, and see who's actually attached to that group and create a user on the Bastion for that user. And the way I'm going to do that actually is by using this guy's Python script, which I've modified slightly. So if you go to this tasty-side.net, a practical guide to deploy Netflix Blessed Certificate Authority, he has in here a Python script for doing just what I said. It's going to look at groups and kind of sync them up with the actual Bastion. But I have modified it because I'm only wanting one group, the Blessed group. So I have modified this script slightly. But I'll put that on the GitHub and in the comment section on that. So what I want to do is create a service on the Bastion that runs that script every couple of seconds or every couple of minutes, hours, whatever. So I need to get that script copied over. First thing I'm going to do on this Ubuntu on the Bastion is make a directory. I'm going to make a directory called iamusers. I go into that directory. I am going to make 3 files. iamusync.py. I'm going to make one called iamusync.service and another iamusync.timer. So iamusync.py is going to be our Python script. That's going to do all the syncing for us. iamusync.service, we're going to make a systemd out of it, systemd service, and the timer is basically going to run that service every couple of seconds. And I've already got the code. Here's that guy's modified code from this website. I will put it up. I've added a little more functionality to it. So I'm going to copy that into the iamusync.py. And I'm going to do the same with the service. Yep. Okay, so we got iamusync.py, iamusync.service, and iamusync.timer. I will link all of those in the description and my GitHub page and that, so you can download it, have a look, play about with it. I haven't tested it thoroughly though, so I'm not a Python developer, so I don't do unit testing or anything for Python. I don't even know how. That's another thing I've got to learn. Although I'm not a Python dev, so I probably will never learn that. So I don't care. Right. Okay. Goody. Next thing I need to do is create a service out of this Python script. So what I'm going to do is system control enable, and then this directory iamusers.service. Wanted by that's new for Ubuntu 18. We'll ignore that. I think that's okay. I think it will run anyway, doesn't matter. And we also want to enable the timer too. Same error. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. So if I go to service, iamusync status, you see that's loaded but inactive. So I'm going to start that service now, but before I do, I've created a brand new policy for the bastion. I'll just take a quick look at that. So I created a brand new policy for the bastion. That policy is going to allow it to invoke the blessed lander function. It's going to allow it to list SSH keys within IAM, and it's going to get users from the group blessed, and it's going to list their SSH public keys. I'll get to the SSH public key in a bit, but that's the policy that I'm going to attach to the bastion. I'll quickly do that now. Okay, so now we're ready to start the service. Service iamusync start. It's failed for some reason. Oh, because I don't have Pro23. So I've got to do a pip install Pro23 so it can actually talk to AWS. Okay, do the same again. Service iamusync start. Okay, good, it started. And now I also need to start the timer as well. So I'm going to do a system control start iamusync.timer. So that's going to run every 10 seconds. So if we there we go. So that's now running every 10 seconds, and it's continually polling for users within the blessed group. Okay, I've got no users in there at the moment, and I want to make sure that when a user has their account created on this bastion, that they have a couple of things: the SSH directory, an authorized keys file, the actual blessed client itself. Okay, so I've just cd'd into etc scale directory, and I'm going to make .ssh. And I'm also going to put in that .ssh an authorized keys file. Authorized keys, whoops. There. Then I'm going to add 700 the .ssh, and I'm going to 600 the authorized keys file. Okay, next thing I want to do is make a blessed client. Blessed client.py. And I've made one, or rather I've modified the Netflix sample one. Remember from last episode, to actually call the blessed client I had to put in about 10 different arguments. I've cleaned it up a little bit so I don't have to put nearly as many arguments in. So just 2 arguments, which is the username of the instance you want to connect to and its IP. Okay. I'll also put that into the GitHub as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to 600 it. I'm going to make it immutable. So shadow plus I, less client.py, that's going to be immutable, and I've 600 it. Oh, I might need to 700 it actually. Yeah, I'm going to 700 it instead. So I think it's an executable. Okay, good. Last thing I need to do. Yeah, there is one more thing I need to do, which is create our temporary keys, which I did with the lift client. A nice bit of copy and paste code. So the Python bless client, GitHub page, copy and paste all this good stuff. Actually, not quite. I don't want to copy it into the root directory. I want to copy it here. So I'm going to delete that. Okay. Same again with this line. Delete the filter SSH. Touch best ID cert.pub and make the symlink to okay, so now we've got all our temporary keys. So whenever a user is created, they're going to get everything in here in their home directory. Okay, and now I do believe we're ready to actually create a user. I'm going to go to I am users, add user. I'm just going to call it blessed user. Blessed user 1. Programmatic access, I don't care about the credentials or anything, just add it to the blessed group. Tags, don't care. Create user. Okay, I'm going to close it because I don't care about the credentials or anything. So there we go, blessed user 1. Now this is polling every 10 seconds of services, so with any luck, let's see, grep blessed. There we go, it's already been created. Blessed user 1, been created, and so now he has a his own directory. There we go. With a blessed client, a .ssh. And that's that. The next thing, I gotta lock everything down now and make sure two-factor is actually set up on here. And I need to alter two different files. One is etc ssh decconfig. What I need to do is add right at the bottom authentication methods. Authentication methods, and it's going to be public key. They're going to log in with an SSH key, and they're going to have to log in with the Google Authenticator, which I haven't installed yet. We'll get to that. So keyboard interactive. We also need to do challenge response. Around here somewhere. Challenge response authentication, change this to yes. And we'll save that. I'm not going to restart the SSHD service because there is one more thing that I need to change. which is etc pam.d sshd. First thing you want to do is comment out this common auth. We don't want to be entering passwords or anything. And the next thing is right at the bottom, we need to add an auth required for PAM Google Authenticator .so and null OK. I'll go into the null OK in a minute, and underneath that we're going to also add auth required PAM permit. Okay, with every guide you read, say there's one that AWS, Amazon have released for the Google Authenticator, is just to say to add that line at the bottom, and they forget to mention you need to add this line, otherwise it just won't work at all. At least the way that I'm intending it to work. So save that. Double check that the PAM Google Authenticator is actually right. Yeah, seems very right. PAM Google Authenticator should be set as required, not requisite. Yeah, that's good. I got it right. Okay. Next thing we need to do is just install the Google Authenticator. I'm going to do it for Ubuntu, but actually first, I don't want the Ubuntu user to be two-factor, just for convenience for this episode. I'm going to go back into etc sshd config, and I'm going to match user Ubuntu and authentication methods. It's just going to be public key. I'm not going to bother with two-factor for my Ubuntu user, just for convenience in this episode. So now I want to actually install the Google Authenticator. So you do it for Ubuntu, sudo apt-get install libpam Google Authenticator. Yes. And we're going to run it straight away. But before I run it, I do actually need to lower the size of this window because a QR code's coming up. Google Authenticator. Do you want tokens to be time-based? Yes. Scan this QR code now. This QR code you're going to scan with the Google Authenticator app, which you can download for Android or iOS. Open up your app, scan barcode, get that in there, and now I've got a QR code. I've got my authentication tokens and all that. So I'm going to create a Google Authenticator file. Disallow multiple uses of the same authentication token. Yeah. Token generated time skew. We don't want a time skew. 3 logins every 30 seconds. Yeah. Let's enable rate limiting. Okay. So Google Authentication set up for Ubuntu, but I don't need to log in with it. Let's just double check that. Let's first start the service. Sudo service sshd restart, then log out, try and SSH back in. Hopefully it'll just let me come back in. Yeah, good. Two-factor, even though I've kind of installed the Google Authenticator for Ubuntu, SSHD is going to match the user to only require a public key. Because what I care about is actually logging in with the blessed user, for the blessed user rather. So if we switch to the blessed user, before that actually, I want to make it so, lower the size there first, up again. I want to make it so that whenever a brand new user wants to actually log into the bastion, they can do straight away without two-factor, but when they log in, it's going to force them to set up their two-factor. Okay, and that's what I did in this PAM file. So by etc pam.d sshd. Right at the bottom there, that's what this null OK is. Basically, if they don't have two-factor set up, then rather than succeed, it's going to kind of ignore this point and just go on. And this next bit is just basically permit them to go on. So with every other guide you'll read online, it'll pretty much say just add this line, but that won't work for what I want to do here. We need to add this PAM permit. Okay. So you know that the authorized keys file within the blessed user is empty, so I can't actually log in at all because I don't actually have an SSH key. I'm going to create one right now. So if you go to security credentials in IAM for the user, blessed user 1, I'm going to upload a public SSH key, but I need to create it first. So let's quickly create one. Let's go into home. Home Netflix. Yeah, let's just create it there. So I'm going to do a SSH key gen, RSA key, which is going to be 4096 bytes, and the file I'm just going to call it me. No password. Okay, if I just cap that, this is what I'm going to upload to IAM. So paste your public SSH key in there. Okay, now the next time the actual IAM sync Python script runs, it's going to detect that it's got a brand new SSH key and put it in its authorized keys file for that user. So now I should be able to log onto my bastion using my private key. So if I SSH, using the me file, I'm logging in as blessed user 1. Wrong place. There. Okay, see it authenticated with partial success. So it was going to go on to two-factor, but because they don't have two-factor set up for this user, it's kind of nulled it and just accepted me anyway. So there's nothing much I can do with this user right now. I do need to make sure that when that user logs in, that the Authenticator app actually launches for him. So if I go back into the Ubuntu user, I'm going to create in the profile.d and MFA shell script. Okay, and I'm going to copy and paste the one on AWS. AWS bastion 2FA. And I copy and paste this script. I'll put a link up to this blog as well, which is really useful. So what this is going to do is, whenever a brand new user logs in, they don't have the Google Authenticator file, then it's going to basically launch the Google Authenticator for them and force them to actually set up two-factor. Okay, so now if I log out, make that a bit smaller because QR code's coming up. If I go back in with Bless, log in again with the blessed user. Okay, so now two-factor is enabled, and we got a QR code for the blessed user. So I'll do my Google Authenticator app again, scan the barcode, there we go. So two-factor setup for that user, so the next time I log in I'll have to enter my verification code as well on the Google Authenticator app. Okay, so the next thing to do is basically generate a certificate and log on to an instance with it. I do have an instance set up, a brand new instance, which I accidentally deleted from last episode, so this is a brand new instance. Alexa, stop. I don't know why she does that. It's a brand new instance. My security group actually is open to all, but obviously you'd lock that down. So only a bastion, it can only accept the connections from bastion. So what I want to do is log into this as a Ubuntu instance. I'm going to log in with a private IP through my bastion. I've got a bless client, or do I? Oh yeah, sorry, I have to log in. I do have to actually log in. I thought it would log me in. Oh, we've got the joys of actually doing two-factor now. I have to do it about 5 times here. So 870 457. Okay, I gotta wait for the next one. I have to do this about 5 times. It's really frustrating because it takes like 30 seconds each code. Two, 7, 8. 2, 7, 8, 6. Okay, wait for the next one. I haven't actually tested this new blessed client that I just wrote. I'm really hoping it's going to work now. Otherwise I'll probably have to restart this. Come on, another one. Okay, this next one will do it. I don't know why it does this. It requires like 4 or 5. Sometimes I'll get it on the first one. Other times it takes about 4 or 5 tries before it'll actually log me in. It might be to do with the time skew, but once I'm logged in for the first time, then it just works constantly. 4, 3, 2, 9, 2. Oh, there we go. 4 tries that time. Sometimes it takes 5 or 6. Okay, so now I can actually log into that instance. So I just use the blessed client.py and logging in with the Ubuntu user. That IP address. Let's apply usage remote username. Okay. Ah, that's one step I forgot. I need an alias. Let's just put in bash rc. Okay, I'm going to create an alias function bless, and what it's going to do is we're going to launch the blessed client for the Ubuntu user. Obviously you can have like CentOS or EC2 users, so you'd have to modify this or do your own thing. And then I'm going to SSH with the generated certificate, which will be bless ID. And then actually no, this will be the first argument. Yeah, first argument. We need to modify this. You can use this actually. $1 at $2. So now I'm going to source it. And we're going to do bless Ubuntu, and then this. And with any luck, it's going to log us in. Yeah. And there we go. We're into the Ubuntu, the other Ubuntu instances for this one here, which I'm only able to gain access through the bastion using the certificate. So there we go. We've locked everything down quite considerably. We've made it really convenient. If I just want to get rid of someone's SSH key, we just delete this here, and the next time that user tries to log into the bastion, they won't be able to do it. Permission denied public key because the bastion iamusync Python script synced with the SSH key in a user account or her user account. And there we go. This is quite a long-winded one actually. How long man? Half hour. It's not too bad. Not too bad. I tend to waffle a lot. I'm gonna put a GitHub readme on, document it. I'm gonna put some Ansible Terraform screens up as well. Everything I've used here will be in my GitHub, and I'll post it in the comments and that. So thanks for watching. Next episode actually is going to be the Bless Python Lift client, the Lift Bless client, which is really convenient and really secure as well. So thank you for watching.